Hello, everyone. Welcome into the Women's Wellness Network. Here we are on a beautiful day. In my side of the world, it is snowing currently for like the last, I don't know, almost 24 hours. And we're
Wow.
ready for some spring, I think. Hello, Christina. How are you doing today?
Hello, Tammy. I'm doing really well. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. It's very nice to see you again. I had the pleasure of interviewing you one time before with Amos, and it was amazing conversation. So yes, I could not wait for the Women's Wellness Network to hear from you and hear what you're about and what you're up to. So first of all, why don't you tell us where you are in the world?
Well, I am in the south of Mexico, in the state of Oaxaca, but I'm actually on the coast, so in a really small little town called Mazunte.
Beautiful. I bet you it's warm and sunny there today.
It's definitely warm, not as warm as it normally is, and it's a little cloudy today, but I'm sure the sun will come out. But yeah, it's for the most part, yeah, the weather, we don't have snow here. It's beautiful.
Lovely, lovely. That's kind of lucky for you, I think. Well, I love the snow, but not for, 6 months at a time. That's too much for me.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's okay. That's okay. Eventually, spring will be here. So, can you please tell our Women's Wellness Network what it is that you do in the world?
Yes, I'd love to share. So I help introverted engineers get out from behind their computers so that they can lose weight, gain confidence, and meet the love of their life.
Amazing. That's like, a nice little compartment of a whole bunch of really awesome things. So, how did you decide that that was going to be how you wanted to, or who you wanted to work with?
How do I decide that's like my specific niche? Do you want me to go into the long story or do you want to go into the short story?
I'll share whatever you feel like sharing.
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, the reason I work with those particular individuals is that, there's a real need. Those are people who are sitting behind a computer, usually sedentary, and you know that when you're spending long periods of time, excuse me, sitting down, like first of all, that's not really, good on your health. It's not really good for your mental health either. And then t you don't tend to really, reach for like the best type of food. You try to just go for things that are convenient, and then you're not moving around so much, and then you're not in the best type of health. Now, that's the reason, I work with those particular individuals. Now, how did I get into coaching with weight loss? Because I went through my own personal story. I always grew up being involved in health and wellness and fitness. It's always really important to me. Just had a natural gravitation towards that. But at one point in my life, excuse me, I had a health issue where, I was a yoga teacher. I still am a yoga teacher. I was living in Australia, but I came to Los Angeles to help train teachers. And I woke up in the morning and, I got up to go shower because I was shower, but I was going to teach the class that day. And I noticed that, I almost fell in the shower. Didn't really kind of think too much of it. And then once I got up to go teach the class, I noticed, wow, I'm having a hard time balancing and, things are coming out of my mouth that, I don't mean to be saying. And then as the day progressed, I noticed, okay, you know, taking my water to go take a drink and I just looked
Oh,
like that. I didn't know I put the lid on. That's a real good illustration.
that's a very good
Um,
example.
um, but yeah, I just threw the water over my shoulder and then walking was a little bit, difficult. I wasn't really walking, great. And then, all of a sudden it was like, okay, the right side of my body is not working the way that it should be. Something is, not right. And so I flew to Arizona where my family lives, went to go see a doctor and um eventually ended up in the hospital because the first doctor had seen lesions in my brain. After some time, the left side of my face went numb. And, in the hospital, they strapped me to the bed because I was a fall risk somebody who's like a yoga teacher, really good with balance and, walking around with an eight pack and stuff like that. It's just crazy. And then by the fourth day, I was saying, you have to let me go because this is not helping me get better. I had about nine neurologists come into my room and they said, you have multiple sclerosis, which did not seem right. It's not something that I ever saw, myself having, and I know most people can say that, but, being somebody from a young age that always, took care of myself, it just didn't fit the bill. And then once they put me on treatment, things got a lot worse. I stopped menstruating, which they found out because I had a pituitary tumor. I lost my ability to eat. I just couldn't eat. Um, I had really severe brain fog. I lost like my sense of awareness of my energy, sleep, being exhausted or being full of energy. Um, my stomach got really distended. I had water in my lungs, I had water in my stomach. My heart rate went from about 54 beats all the way down to 38 beats. My veins were all sticking out. There was just all these different symptoms. And then eventually I put on these 40 pounds, which I had no appetite, because my movement was so limited. I was like dragging my leg. I was working out twice a day, which normally somebody who has like my type of metabolism, I would have disappeared, not eating and working out that much. Um, and the doctors, I was, going to doctors, specialists, healers, alternative workers, and nobody had answers for me. So I was left to just figure it out by myself. And so the first thing I did is sat with myself. I said, okay, what do you think about what's going on? First of all, I said, you know what? I don't think that this, they call it flare. I don't think this flare is going to happen again. I don't think that I have this diagnosis. Um, and once I said to myself, okay, that I went on to search for some kind of neurologist that would confirm what I was thinking, and I finally found one that said, okay, I see that I see on your scan here, he didn't make a new one, the old one, on your scan you have lesions, but these are not consistent with MS lesions, but I don't know what you have. And then so I went and I got a new scan, and the doctor said, okay, there are no lesions, and not only do you not have any lesions, there's no sign that you ever had lesions in the first place. So that was good. But still, I had all the other stuff going on. And so it was just a process of me, having to figure out, how to heal myself and how to get, this weight off. Because the other things, they started kind of, with everything that I do naturally, they started healing, but the weight was just lingering and just lingering. And so I really took some time. It took a lot of time, took a
This
lot of money to figure that
At this
out.
time, were you still unbalanced?
Oh,
Or
you
is
mean
that
like walking and stuff
improving?
like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my walking improved. That's why I said, like, when I was in the hospital, I said, you've got to get me out because I wasn't able to go to my yoga and stuff like that. Even though my yoga wasn't doing so great at that point. I mean, I was at least moving, and, being in the hospital, it wasn't so easy, especially it's so cold. And so I was again like losing everything that I was starting to gain back. So yeah, by that point, my movement was better. There's, yeah, my flexibility not quite the same, but for the most part, the things had resolved themselves. It was just like the weight was just lingering and lingering and lingering. And so it took some time because what I found out was that I was cortisol dependent.
Mhm.
Um, and most people don't really know what that is, and they don't know how to work with that because it's not it's not typical at all of what you think of. And so through that process, of being somebody, okay, I'm used to being in really good shape and I just do the normal things, exercise, eat well, take care of your mental health. Okay, it kept me well, but then I drifted off into another space and then realized, okay, there's a little bit more to this picture. than what most people think and what we're told, really. And so it made me realize, okay, there's definitely a market that I can serve, that will need, that need my help. And also through that whole process, like I said, I had to figure it out myself. And I felt so, misunderstood, like nobody was really listening. I felt scared because I didn't know what was going on. There was no answers, and really lonely because, the things that I felt I needed to do, and that I would typically do, my family, we think a lot different. The doctors, you know, they just have one way that they know of working, and they don't know. It's not, I'm not judging them, but that's, they just know that way. So I didn't have a guide. And so I said, okay, if I make it through this, because at one point in time, it really looked like I wasn't going to, I said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to help others so that they don't have to, go through, this whole process lost and confused and scared.
Yeah, no kidding. Super scary. Like, ugh, especially when nobody's listening. And I went on a little bit of that journey myself. I went through breast cancer and the recovery and all that stuff, and had a rupture of the capsule, and was my body system was poisoned. And everything that you're saying, your symptoms, are the same thing that was happening to me. And at
Wow.
one point, I was even told, it looks like you have MS. And same, right? I'm like, I don't know. I don't think this is the right thing. I think this is not me. Same thing, not no support, no real, they don't want to lead you in any direction that they don't want to go. So yeah, it was really super frustrating. So I totally feel what you're feeling. Like even down to the leg, I had to physically lift my own legs upstairs. So yeah, right on the same kind of path. So I really appreciate that you're doing this work, because at that time I was like, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. I don't know who to ask or who to trust, or even what I'm supposed to be figuring out. So I understand that part about, having to rely on yourself and come up with the best solutions for you. And obviously you've done that, because look at you. I mean, you look amazing. You're helping people. You're back doing your thing. And that takes a lot of strength and courage to be able to pick yourself up, even when others are not helping you, and especially when our families are saying, "Oh, why aren't you doing this? This is what you're supposed to do. They're saying you should do this." But inside, it's like, oh, but maybe there's a different way. There's another way. So how did you, like, what was the little trigger in you that said, I got this, I can do this myself? What was the turning point that finally you went, yeah, I'm doing this?
Well, I had no other choice. um, I mean, like I said, I was just slowly deteriorating. It was just hitting all the systems, and you know, every doctor and specialist, they just, they work in one specific area, but when it's targeting all of your body, there's nobody that knows that. And so, um, you know, they weren't really, how you say, they weren't really appreciating the fact that my body was shutting down, basically. And I got to the point where, like I said, it was like, this might be a little woo-woo for people, but I don't normally feel like what we call like our aura, but I felt just black, and I was writing my living will, and that's where it got to. And being in that state is not fun. And then all of a sudden, your mind starts to have, really unpleasant thoughts, and just could not continue like that. So, yeah, I said, if I'm still gonna be here, then I actually be here. So that was really my turning point. It's just you just hit rock bottom basically, as I said, it's like either you just lay in bed, or lay in your coffin, or if I'm still, like I said, if I'm gonna still keep going, then I gotta put some fuel in tank and and get the car running. And so that was really, yeah, that was my turning point. And like I said, I also, the big turning point was really sitting down and saying, okay, what do you think about this diagnosis? Like, do you feel that this resonates with you? And it never did. It never did. But I was just so scared. Brain is on fire. Normally you don't hear your thoughts, you don't feel your thoughts. I should say you don't really feel your thoughts, but when you have severe inflammation in your brain, you feel everything and it's not comfortable. It's not
No,
comfortable at all.
no, my goodness. Yeah, what a story. Holy smokes, right? Like that's a lot of stuff to go through. And to be sitting there and, wanting to help people and, having those little tools that maybe other people just don't have because they haven't been through that situation. And that's a big thing, finding somebody that people can connect with on that level in that way, right? Who has a positive outcome, who, people can look at you and see, okay, she's doing it, she's done it, she's been there. So what steps can I take to get going? So when you start working with somebody, what kind of things do you like lead them, what kind of steps do you take to get them kind of, okay, we got this, we can get going here.
I mean, the thing is that I mean, first you got to figure out, okay, what is it? What's the outcome that you want? Like, what's your goal? And then, okay, you have your goal. Okay, like why?
Mm.
Because we don't have those things, it's really hard to, like build that momentum. So it's a lot, people, especially, oh, I shouldn't say people, but adults don't really dream. They don't spend a lot of time. And it's funny when I ask, my clients like, hey, in your perfect situation, what would your life look like? And well, and it's very, they'll start off small and they'll try to rational. I'm like, no, no, I'm not asking you to rationalize at all. Like, just go all out. And it's just, it really takes a lot for them, to do that. So doing that with people and allowing them to, because the thing is that, and like I said, I coach, weight loss, which it's not as severe as what I'm, had to deal with, but, a lot of the same mental things we go through. But you tend to just have like a very narrow scope, and you just kind of focus on this. And so what I'm asking you to do is, okay, let's expand. There's all this other stuff that goes on around you that, you don't really focus on or you don't think about. So, getting that and then, okay, well, okay, cool. Let's chunk it down. Let's break it down into smaller and smaller steps so that you can be successful. Because somebody that comes to me usually, they've tried stuff and they haven't been successful. So by the time they come to me, and that's my experience too, is that you feel really broken, you're worn out, you're just you're you're very unsure and maybe a bit untrusting. Is this really going to work? Is this person really legit also? So it's like, okay, give them something that they're going to achieve, they're going to accomplish. And once you make that first accomplishment, you hit that first goal, that starts to put fuel in your tank, that starts to revive you, that starts to make yourself trust yourself again. um so that's like the basic way of saying it without giving too much away.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. Like that's a difficult thing, learning to trust yourself again, especially when you've tried some things and you've put your faith into, a program or a person or, a way, even if it's, the way of the doctors, and it doesn't work, then yeah, then it's like, oh, okay, how do I know I'm going to be doing it if I can't even, I can't say to myself, I got this. So that's got to be like one of the first things for sure. And to give them that scope of, well, you think you can only have this, but there's everything. There's everything to look to and towards, and who do you want to be? That's great. Cause for myself too, it was like I got to the bottom. I felt like I call it, well, like you said, rock bottom, but I feel like a little pebble tumbling along under a big, huge river down the, bottom of the river. And I have all that river above me. And how am I ever going to get out? But
Mhm.
eventually, right, you just start going. And next thing you know, well, you're somewhere. And that's when you got that little bit of hope, that little glimmer that says, yeah, I can do this. And I see, that's the way that that you work, and that's the way that you got that for yourself in that way. And to be able to deliver that to other people is incredible. So if people would like to work with you, how can they find you?
Yeah, well, they can go to my website, which is awakeyourpotential.com. They can also join right now. Well, it's not running now, but we're in the promotional period for I have a 5-day sugar detox challenge that I'm running starting April 15th to the 19th. So just 5 days again. So, in 5 days, you can definitely be successful. And so that is the 5 day getfitchallenge.com. And again, it's a free challenge. I have people who lose from 3 pounds all the way to 13 pounds. They boost their energy, they improve their mood, they sleep better, they eat better, and the list goes on. And, they've shared it with their friends, they've shared it with their family. And it's just such a beautiful process, not only for the person, like I said, who directly participates that comes to me, but all the people in their circle.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my goodness, right? And then it's like so it's achievable because it's only 5 days.
Yeah, definitely. And like people get so excited because it's not something that is it's not like a crash, it's not some kind of crash, diet where you just like eat cabbage and then, afterwards, okay, what do I eat? No, no, no. I'm giving you my top tips that worked for me and other people that I've worked with. And so these are like lifestyle changes. So it's not just, we're doing the sugar detox, but there's a lot more that's on offer there.
Cool. Oh, that's awesome. I love having things. I love when people bring things for our women to share and to like actually experience because yeah, but you just need one little crack there, one little opening to go, yep, I'm jumping through. I'm gonna try. I got this. And yeah, from there, then you're 5 fingers up already.
Yeah, and it's springtime too, so that's why I love doing it right now. So like spring is a time of like, renew, refresh, clean everything out. So yeah, it's a perfect time to do it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, women from the Women's Wellness Network, if you would like to work with Christina or at least participate in her free challenge, which is coming up, which day did you say? Pretty
It's
soon.
starting on the 15th of April.
Okay, yeah, that's very soon. So yeah,
Yeah, so
check it
register
out.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Register now. And yeah, we'll put all
5 day get fit challenge.
5 day get fit challenge. Okay, we're gonna put all that information in the comments so that we know where to go and look and we don't me, I don't mess up the name, the website, any of the things. We'll just ask Christina, lovely Christina, please put your stuff in the comments so that we can find you. And yeah, thank you so much for coming. I love your story just because of the parallels. Um, I love you because of your boldness and your willingness to help other people. So thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy with us.
Well, thank you, Tammy, and I so appreciate you sharing a bit more about yourself as well.
Thank you very much. And women of the Women's Wellness Network, until next time, be well.